Let's talk about what the hell is happening with our media. And the most recent example is the Washington Post, which Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, really, really rich guy, decided that he was going to save from demise by buying and investing a lot of money in it. And he did. And a tremendous number of really great journalists were working at the Post when he got there. He hired many more. And for a while, things were good. But then Donald Trump decided during the first term that he really wasn't happy with Bezos because Bezos wasn't bending the knee to him and wasn't allowing the Post to do what Trump wanted the Post to do, which is basically to become the Pravda organ for Donald Trump. So Bezos, under the guise of bipartisanship, there goes that dirty word again, decided that he was going to pull an endorsement that the Post was planning on doing of Kamala Harris right before the election. And he did that by effectively saying, well, we shouldn't be involved in presidential endorsements because we shouldn't be involved in presidential endorsements. Okay, I would believe that if you weren't endorsing senators and members of Congress and local officials in Washington. But the reality is, of course, the Post does all of that. Bezos just didn't want to cross Donald Trump. And he hired these two Rupert Murdoch flunkies from England to run the Post, which is what they've done. They've effectively turned it into Fox News. And on top of that, they wouldn't publish a cartoon by their storied Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist that allowed people to see what was happening by showing a cartoon of Bezos and Disney and all these other titans of industry bending the knee to Donald Trump. They pulled it. And they insulted us by telling us that they pulled it because they had an op-ed coming on this very same subject. They didn't want to be repetitive, except that, of course, that op-ed never ran. We never saw that op-ed. So that was a lie, too. And after all of this, they've now decided they're going to do layoffs. Well, of course they're doing layoffs. They're doing layoffs because people are pulling their subscriptions. I still have mine. I don't know why I still have mine. I still have mine because there's still good people that work at the Post, but probably not for long. And when those people leave, I'm going to stop too. But people are not subscribing to the Post. And my question is this all a ploy to just basically tank one of the most storied newspapers in the country? At some point, is Bezos just going to say, you know what? This isn't working out for me. I'm going to take a loss on this. I'm going to take a write down on this and bye-bye a Washington Post. At which point, people are going to get their news from where? Well, they'll still have the New York Times. They don't have the LA Times anymore because the owner of the LA Times effectively did the same thing, decided that his editorial board was a little too liberal. So he decided to put some conservatives on it. Okay, fine. But then he also decided that he was going to have some sort of AI tool that was going to check editorials for balance. That I've never heard of because editorial boards are actually supposed to be opinion. What do we have left? We've got Twitter, which Elon Musk has turned into a crazy right-wing propaganda machine. We've got TikTok, where 2-to-1, the content there, studies have found, is pro-Trump. We've got AM radio, where the top people on AM radio are Sean Hannity, people like that, right wing. We've got cable news, where the number one station is Fox News, also pro-Trump. We've got, podcasts, which everybody keeps talking about now. The number one podcast was, and probably will continue to be, Joe Rogan. Now, Jason Kelsey's wife has a podcast that competes with him, but she's not exactly doing political opinion. So what do we have that's not completely subsumed by MAGA and by the billionaires who buy these outlets and then decide that they're going to effectively turn them over to Donald Trump? Why? Well, because they've got outside business interests. And it's much more important for Elon Musk to have Trump give him whatever he wants from an economic perspective, like SpaceX, has a lot of Starlink, a lot of government contracts. Those are important to Musk. So of course, Twitter is going to be turned over to do whatever it takes to keep Musk's business interests happy. Tesla, something Musk really cares about. Well, it'd be really helpful if no more credits went to places like Rivian that are competitors of Tesla's. So he's going to have to work on that with Trump too. What about Musk? What about Bezos? Well, Bezos, of course, doesn't really care so much about the Washington Post, but he really, really, really needs the Postal Service to keep delivering Amazon's packages. He really, really, really needs his own space program that he's developing to do well. That also involves government contracts, and so on and so forth. Our media is for sale. It's over for legacy media. MSNBC is owned by Comcast. CNN is owned by Time Warner Discovery. They have bigger priorities than these little networks. Even ABC, which just basically bribed Trump with a settlement for $15 million, has bigger priorities because they're owned by Disney. And Disney has a much, 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 much bigger agenda than just the well-being of ABC News. That could go by the wayside because the larger corporation is more important. And they don't want Trump messing with that. So what's left to us? Nothing. We've got to create it ourselves. You could follow me on Substack. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other great people who are creating content on Substack, creating content here on YouTube, creating their own podcasts. That's the future. Because legacy media is dead. And if you saw what happened in the Washington Post over the last week, to month, to 6 months, you'd understand how traumatic it is for those of us who grew up with the legacy media to now understand that the same lamestream media that Republicans have been concerned about and worried about is actually working for them. It's not working for us. It's not working for the people. I shouldn't even say for us. It's not that it ever worked for Democrats. It just told the truth. No more. No more. They don't want anybody there who's not going to fulfill Trump's agenda, because Trump's agenda benefits the billionaires who own all of these outlets. That's it. That's the whole story. So come join me on Substack, Salty Politics on Substack. Come join me here at the Salty Briefing. Let's build something together. Because if we don't, we're going to go the way of the dodo bird. And the truth that we have relied on our media to give us all these years will be subsumed by some weird MAGA version where January 6th was a Woodstock lovin'. The Capitol Police people, officers who got hurt, brought it on themselves. And the people who hurt them were freedom fighters. That's what MAGA is selling. If you don't like that as the truth, say goodbye to legacy media, because they're saying goodbye to you. And come join us here on Substack, Salty Politics, at the Salty Briefing on YouTube. Let's build something together that stands the test of time and really makes it clear that we're not going to put up with this anymore.